Hey class, how are you? So this is a quick little video for TGA2. So I'm in your home page. I'm just in a regular page, and I'll even look at it as a student. And so you can see it right here on the announcements, but if the announcements are already gone and you're doing this later, the other way to get to it is go under Tools, under Assignments, and then look for your TGA. So this is for TGA2, so I'm going to click there, a couple more clicks. Then once you get in here, you can read this assignment. This is where you would submit the assignment. And then we're going to click here, and that will finally take us to CodeHS. Well, I lied. Another click, and then we'll be in CodeHS. There we go. So we can read the prompt. But we actually don't have to look at it there anymore. I'm just going to push this over to the side, and here's where you can see your assignment. I'm going to go ahead and make my screen bigger for you guys. Oh, crud. Oh, there it is. Okay, there we are. So let's get started. I've got my handy pen over here, and I'm getting ready to go. So the very first thing that it says write a program. Okay? So when it says write a program, that means to us this. We are going to write the word function, the word start, parentheses, and a curly bracket. We're going to click on enter, and that is the start of our program. That is basically writing a program. That's how we write a program. Let me just do this really quick. So everything inside of those curly brackets, all this stuff here, is our program. Well, if we want more than just one line of code, we just need to make sure that it's always inside of the curly brackets. Okay, that's it. So anything that's in here would be considered our program. Okay? Alright, so then that's that part. We've written a program that prints out all the possible dice rolls with 2 dice. Okay, so it looks like we're going to need a couple of containers, a couple of dice, if you will. And if you remember my good old Java Jeeves, okay, he is ready and waiting to help us, okay? And what we need him to do is we need him to store the value of the dice roll in a little box. So to get him to do that, we have to create a variable. So let's do var, and you can name your dice X and Y, but I would recommend that you name it something like die1 and die2, or dice1, dice2, something like that. So there, var die2. So we have done this, we've created a little container for the dice rolling. We haven't rolled the dice yet, but that's okay. And we want to print something. Okay, that's all they tell us so far. All right, let's look at the next part. The next part says to do so, you should use a nested for loop. Okay, looks like we're going to need a for loop then. I don't remember how to write a for loop, so I'm going to go over to my textbook and look in documentation. It is a control structure. And voila, there is the template for a for loop. So I'm going to grab that code, and I'm going to paste it over here. Okay, so before I go any further with the for loop, I wanted to go back a little bit and talk about what a for loop does. So I came over here to Carol, and Carol is in Unit 4. You're free to go back and look at any of that stuff. It's actually really helpful. So just bear with me for just a second. So what I did here is I got a for loop, and I did a second for loop because we have 2 dice. And I want to explain, or I want you to see what a for loop does. So we're going to get into our code. So we've got a function start, so we started a program, and we've got this little for loop. So this first part right here tells Carol when to start. The second part tells Carol when to stop. So after 6, she's going to stop. And then this is just adding 1 to your loop every time. So here we go. She puts a little ball, and then we have a second for loop. So then she does the second for loop, and the second for loop wants her to move. So she's going to move, and the second for loop runs all the way through, all the way to 6 again. Same thing. It started at 0 and it stops at 6. When she's done with that for loop, then we go back to the first for loop and we start doing that one. And we put a ball. Then we get into the second for loop again and we do that. Okay? What I wanted to show you is with us, we're doing 2 dice and we want, like, if you're playing a game like Monopoly or Risk or whatever game you're playing, you usually take both dice in your hand and you shake them up and then you throw them. You don't usually shake one dice and then shake the other one. So to simulate that, I'm going to get rid of the put ball there and we're going to do both dice, both moves together. So we're going to put ball here, and then now both things are going to happen together. So that's how we're going to simulate that. So this happens, so then we're going to put ball and move, put ball and move, put ball and move, and then we actually do that 6 times because every time we go to that first for loop, so basically both dice, both things happen 6 different times. And then in here, put ball and move happens 6 times. So put ball and move happens 6 times, 6 times. So if I ran this all the way through, we would have 36 balls and moved 36 times. Even though I've only had it this 6 times, but this whole thing happens 6 more times. Okay. All right. Let me get back to our stuff, our dice. Okay, so here we are back here, and we want to have something repeated. And what we want repeated is for the dice to roll. So we're going to do another for loop here. And then, and you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to change this to die 1. Let me change that to die 1. Because that's what really is changing. This is the value that I need to change. I want the die to change when we're rolling it. Okay, so then now I can put in here var die 2 is equal to 0, because this is my second one. Notice that I'm putting a semicolon in between. Die 2 is less than... let's talk about that count right there. Actually, I'm just going to get rid of that. Remember, that was just the template, and I'm going to replace that with 6, because we have 6 sides on our dice. 6 die 2 plus plus. Okay, then I'm going to close my parenthesis, open my curly bracket, and click enter. Notice I already have a curly bracket open. That was for the first for loop. So each for loop has to have its own open and close. Let me draw that out for you. So this one, okay. This one would have come, there it goes. This one comes all the way down here like that. And then let me change colors. And then this one is right here. Okay. And sorry, my pen pooped out. All right, so that is a for loop within a for loop. All right, let's get that thing to roll now. So what I'm seeing here is that because we defined die 1 right here and we defined die 2 here, we actually don't even need these. So I'm going to comment those out. 2 slashes means, hey, ignore this. Program, ignore this. So we've got the dice rolling. Now I need to see what's going to be rolled. So I want to do a console.log and I want to see what I'm rolling. So I'm going to put die 1 plus, or and, really, this a plus is and. I'm going to put a little comma and die 2. Oops, semicolon. Let's run that and see what we have. Let's see if we have any errors. Aha. Okay. So we've got this first column here is die. Okay, and I can show that to you too. Let me just do one. So that's the first die, and then that other part right there was the second die. So that second number is the second dice. Okay. Notice how they're going 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, so there's something going on here. I don't have it starting at 1 and it skipped 6. Well, that's because I started at 0. So I need to start at 1 and I need to have 6 included, not just less than 6. I need less than or equal to 6 so that 6 will be included. So I need to change that. Because if it's less than 6, it stops before it gets to 6, and I need 6 to be included. Let's try that again. There we go. There we go. That looks better. But in the instructions, it tells us that it wants us to do this in descending order. So we've got to go back over here and take a look. Sorry, I was in the wrong spot. In descending order. So we need to go down. So we need to count down instead of counting up. So this thing is counting up. Let me pull up those tables that I had the other day. Hang on. Okay. So I made these the other day and I showed these to you guys in class. So the very first one, this is just a simple for loop and it's starting at 0 and it is ending at 6. And I could have changed this to 1. And if I change this to 1, then we would just start right here instead. Okay, so we are starting here, and you see that we are counting up. Okay, we are counting up. So every time that we go through the loop, we are adding 1. So that gets us, we're starting the count up like 1, 2, 3, get ready, get start, go, 1, 2, 3, or like that. But if we're doing a count down, like this one, where we're counting down to 1 or counting down to 0, well then we would have to start with a larger number. And notice my signs are changed. Notice this one is less than or equal to, and this one is going to be greater than or equal to. Because look at it, 6 is greater than or equal to 0. 5 is greater than or equal to 0. So you're counting down and you're checking to see if you're greater than 0. And when you are, you keep going, and when you get to, well, -1 is not greater than 0, that's when you stop. Whereas over here, we're counting up. We're saying, hey, is 1 less than 6? Yeah. Is 2 less than 6? Yeah. Is 3 less than 6? So we are counting up until we get to this one where 7 is not less than 6, so we stop. So with these, we know we're going to need this counting down because we're going in descending order. Okay? So we're going to switch the starting point, we're going to switch the end point, we're going to switch the sign, and we're going to switch where we're minusing. We're subtracting 1 to get that count down instead of adding 1. So a few little things that we have to fix, and that will get us counting down. So we said we needed to start with that big number, we need to switch that sign, and we need to do minus, which is subtracting 1. Shortcut for subtracting 1. I need to do it to both. I can run it and you'll see that 1 is going to start counting down. Well, what did I do? Okay, well, let me go ahead and finish the second one. 6 greater than or equal to, oh, that's what I didn't do. I didn't change that to 1. Okay. Well, that's okay. Minus. All right, run. And now you can see that the first one is counting down 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the second one is actually also counting down 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And this is every single possibility of 2 dice being rolled. You could get a 6 and a 6, the possibility of a 6 and a 5, and a 6 and a 4, and a 6 and a 3, and so on and so forth. This is it, guys. This is the whole code. This is how you would code for all dice values descending. Please get this turned in. Don't forget to click on submit and continue. You can check your code. We might have, you should have a comma and a space between each value. Oh, okay. Huh? Oh, they want us to have a space right there. Well, that's easy. Space. Now check code. All right, everything is good. And then you want to click submit and continue. Don't forget to click submit and continue. That kicks it to me and tells me, hey, come grade this, and it's really easy. If you just click save and it stays yellow, then I don't know that you've done it. So please, please, please click submit and continue. And then the second part, to turn your work in, after you click submit and continue, you copy this right here. And then let's go back to the one where I told you this is where you submit. See, right down here it says submit. And the way I got to that, remember, was tools and assignments. And then I clicked on all dice. And then I went all the way down to the bottom. And I'm going to paste that code in and click submit. And then that's it. It's been submitted. Got it. Done. See you. Let me know if you have any questions.